Shauna always knows when someone is looking at her bottom. Shauna always knows when someone has been looking at her bottom. She knows she has a bottom to die for, and she knows when someone is looking. She frequents the gym on a daily basis, and she is constantly paranoid when someone is looking at her bottom. She hates those peepers, and all she wants to do is train in peace. Her bottom though has special powers, and anyone who looks at her bottom will be mind controlled by her bottom to do something bad to themselves. That's how Shauna knows that someone has been looking at her bottom. She always knows. When Shauna was at the gym a couple of weeks ago, she was feeling paranoid again that people were looking at her bottom while she was training. She hates it when she becomes paranoid, but she can't help it. Then suddenly someone started banging their head against some weights and their heads were smashed open. Then they were shaking on the floor and everyone stopped working out at the gym. Shauna knew that guy must have been staring at her bottom, because her bottom had mind controlled him to do that to himself. Shauna was full of fury and she shouted at the now deceased gym goer for staring at her bottom. It's not just only at the gym where people might stare at her bottom. There are times when she is shopping and people can stare at her bottom. She started to feel paranoid again at the shopping center, when she was shopping for groceries and she could just someone was looking at her bottom. The feelings of paranoia goes through her body, and then two guys had been mind controlled by Shauna's bottom to fight each other to the death. When one of the guy was killed, Shauna's bottom had taken control of the dead body and used it to kill the living guy. Shauna was angry at the two dead guys for looking at her bottom while shopping. She called them disgusting and that they both deserved it. So because of people staring at Shauna's bottom at places like gyms and supermarkets, many had been mind controlled by her bottom to do deadly things to themselves. Even though Shauna has no control over her bottom's mind controlling powers, the deceased families and friends blamed her. She had enemies now and Shauna didn't care, as it wasn't her fault for people staring at her bottom. One day when she came into the gym she saw a picture of someone's bottom, and it looked pleasing to her. Then she started hearing voices and the voices were telling her to do things to herself that would kill her. Then she realized it was a picture of her own bottom. She is going to kill herself now as she has succumbed to mind control.